Air Asia is a long-haul low-cost airline listed on Bursa Malaysia, providing affordable air transportation services. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the company faced major challenges due to travel restrictions, border closures, and reduced passenger demand, which affected its revenue and cash flow. This report analyzed Air Asia performance from 2020 to 2024, covering the pandemic period and the recovery phase. It also evaluates the challenges faced and the strategies implemented to strengthen the company's financial position.
As we continue the problem statement 5 is market challenge. One of the main problems faced by AirAsia was a sharp decline in demand for air travel. Many flights were cancelled and most of its aircraft could not operate. As a result, ticket sales dropped significantly, causing a major loss in revenue. Another challenge was the fluctuation of AirAsia's stock price. Investors were uncertain about the future of the airlines industry, leading to low investor confidence and difficulty in raising funds. This issue had a serious impact on AirAsia performance. The company experienced financial loss and had to implement cost-cutting measures such as reducing operating expenses, renegotiating contracts, and restructuring parts of the business. The pandemic also threatened Asia's long-term sustainability because lower revenue made it more difficult to meet financial commitments and maintain operations. To overcome this challenge, Asia adapted its strategy by focusing on digital transformation, logistics services, and other non-airlines business to generate new sources.
To explain the financial challenge faced by AirAsia during COVID-19 pandemic. So the pandemic had a huge impact on the airline industry because many countries introduced travel restrictions, border closures, and lockdowns. As a result, fewer people travel, which affected AirAsia business and income. And the first challenge was the decline in revenue. Since AirAsia mainly earns money from ticket sales and flight services, the decrease in passenger number caused its revenue to drop significantly. And many flights were cancelled, and the company recorded a 92% decrease in revenue in October and November 2022. Compared to the previous year, the second challenge was cash flow and liquidity problems because AirAsia was spending less money. It faced difficulties in covering its daily expenses. The company needed almost 2 billion to continue operating. At the same time, AirAsia still had to pay for aircraft rentals, maintenance, fuel costs, and other operating expenses. Another challenge was the increase in the to survive during the pandemic. AirAsia borrowed money from banks and financial institutions. Although these loans helped the company continue its operation, they also increased the company debt level. Lastly, AirAsia experienced operating losses. The company had fewer flight and lower income, but still needed to pay many operating costs, and AirAsia also had to provide refunds to customers whose flights were cancelled, which increased its financial burden. And the conclusion is the COVID-19 pandemic caused many financial challenges for AirAsia, including lower revenue, cash flow problems, higher debt, and operating losses. To survive, AirAsia refunds borrowed money and expanded into other businesses such as digital services and air cargo.
I will present the financial analysis of AirAsia Group for 2020 and 2021. In terms of revenue, a significant decrease was recorded from 1.86 billion in 2019 to 3.13 billion in 2020. This represents a decline of 73.6%, mainly due to impact of COVID-19, which caused flight restrictions and reduced passenger demand. For gross profit, operating costs decreased from 724.6 million in 2019 to a loss of 5.42 billion in 2020. This was mainly caused by high operating costs, while flight operations were limited. Next, net profit also declined from a loss of 282.2 million in 2019 to a larger loss of 5.89 billion in 2020. This shows the company faced major financial pressure during the pandemic. For liquidity, the current ratio decreased from 0.74 in 2019 to 0.30 in 2020, indicating that AirAsia faced difficulties in managing its short-term obligations. In terms of debts, short-term debts increased to more than 4.26 billion in 2020, showing higher dependence on financing during the crisis. Overall, AirAsia experienced a challenging financial period in 2020 due to COVID-19 impacts. The company faced lower revenue, increased losses, and liquidity issues. In terms of revenue, AirAsia showed improvement in 2022 due to the recovery of the aviation industry and increased flight operation after travel restrictions were lifted. For gross profit and net profit, the company showed better performance as passenger demand increased, although operating costs remained high. For liquidity, AirAsia continued improving its cash management after facing financial challenges during the pandemic. Overall, AirAsia showed signs of recovery in 2020 with improved operations and financial performance.
I will present the financial analysis of AirAsia for 2023 and 2024. In terms of revenue, an increase was recorded from RM 2.53 billion in 2023 to RM 3.26 billion in 2024. This represents a growth of 29.1%, mainly due to higher passenger demand and increased flight capacity. For gross profit, net operating profit decreased from RM 3,600 269.1 million in 2023 to 204.7 million in 2024. This decrease was caused by the higher operating expenses, especially maintenance and fuel costs. Net profit also decreased from RM 331.5 million in 2023 to RM 207.1 million in 2024, showing a decline of 37.5%. Despite the decrease, the company remained profitable in 2024. For liquidity, the current ratio decreased from 0.47 in 2023 to 0.42 in 2024, indicating that the company still faces short-term liquidity challenge. Overall, AirAsia achieved higher revenue in 2024. However, profitability was affected by increased operating costs. Thank you.
AirAsia responded to COVID-19 through 5 main strategies. First, the company reduced costs and managed cash flow by cutting expenses and restructuring payments. This helped AirAsia continue operating during the pandemic. Second, AirAsia expanded digital services such as AirAsia Move and BigPay to create new sources of income when travel demand was low. Third, the company strengthened teleport in logistics business to meet the growing demand for e-commerce deliveries. Fourth, AirAsia diversified into non-aviation businesses, reducing its dependence on passenger flight. Finally, after travel restrictions were lifted, AirAsia increased flights, reopened routes, and expanded operations, resulting in strong passenger growth. In conclusion, these strategies helped AirAsia survive the pandemic, recover successfully, and become a stronger and more resilient company.
So today I would like to present our recommendation for AirAsia based on our analysis. First, AirAsia should save more money for emergency because the company faced financial difficulties during the COVID-19 pandemic. Second, AirAsia should have different sources of income and not depend only on flight ticket sales. The company can continue to grow its cargo, logistics, and online business. Third, AirAsia should continue using technology to improve its service, reduce costs, and increase efficiency. In addition, AirAsia should have a good risk management plan to prepare for future challenges and unexpected situations. Finally, AirAsia should manage its debt carefully to maintain a stable financial position. In conclusion, this recommendation can help AirAsia become stronger and better prepared for future challenges. Thank you.
Case highlight the importance of effective financial management, business diversification, and risk management in overcoming unexpected risks. That's all for me. Thank you.